My mistakes have been put on the public stage. Other people's mistakes aren't. And there are many things that are good, but good news doesn't sell papers, and bad Fergie sells.
Now it's payback time. Meghan and Fergie are both exactly the same. People say, oh, Fergie never talked bad about the royal family, because Fergie was literally blackmailing the royal family, because Fergie has been part of the shady deals that Andrew has done and some of King Charles.
The Virginia Giuffre book, Prince Andrew believed it was his birthright to have sex with me. It's a horrible, horrible quote. It shows just how entitled this man really was to these things.
Britain's former Prince Andrew.
The reports are that Prince Andrew, the former Prince Andrew, has been arrested.
Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor was arrested on his 66th birthday. Police cars at Sandringham, searches at Royal Lodge, the king refusing to even call him his brother.
We really never thought we'd see anything like this. There are currently 2 teams of police on the king's estate, searching the king's property.
Every channel on this platform is covering that story right now. But the story nobody is telling, it's about the woman who disappeared the moment the walls started closing in.
I've made thunderous mistakes. So yes, I've got better judgment at 51 now because of my appallingly bad judgment.
Sarah Ferguson hasn't been seen in public since September. Her companies are shutting down. Her charities have dropped her. And right now, somewhere overseas, she's sitting on enough royal secrets to bring down the entire institution. That's the real story. And it starts 34 years ago on a villa balcony in the south of France.
Many people in this world are lost. It's excruciating to live with past mistakes. It is so difficult. I always would like to change so many things in my past, but I can't. I've got to move forward, and it's very difficult to go back over them.
Here's what we know. On the morning of February the 19th, 6 unmarked police vehicles pulled up to Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate. 8 plainclothes officers from Thames Valley Police arrested Andrew on suspicion of misconduct in public office, a charge that carries, and I want you to sit with this for a second, a maximum sentence of life imprisonment.
Meghan, this is historic. There has not been a crisis like this in 90 years.
The arrest followed newly released documents showing Andrew allegedly forwarded confidential government trade reports during his time as UK trade envoy. His own brother, King Charles, released a statement referring to him not as my brother, but as Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. That's not just formal language. That's a man cutting the cord in front of the entire world.
Our next guest has a long history with the royal family. Piers Morgan has met Andrew, knows his ex-wife Fergie, and their daughter as well. He joins us now on the phone. Hey, Piers, did you ever think it would come to this?
You know, I was beginning to fear it might, but when it actually happens, it is an absolute bombshell. I mean, to put this into context, there has been no member of the royal family arrested in my lifetime. I'm 60 years old.
But the arrest is only the surface. Underneath it, 3 women's lives just changed forever. And one of them saw it coming decades ago.
Sarah Ferguson is as cunning and as deviant and as skanky as Rachel Meghan Markle. She just was lucky that when she was doing all her skankiness, the internet was not around.
So where is Sarah Ferguson right now? That's a question even the press can't answer. She was last seen publicly in September of 2025. Since then, nothing. Reports place her first in the French Alps, then the UAE, then Doha, Qatar. No fixed address, no public comment, no appearance alongside Andrew when the arrest came. Think about that. A woman who lived with her ex-husband for nearly 20 years after their divorce, through every scandal, every headline, every humiliation, suddenly isn't there for the biggest moment of all, and it gets worse.
You cut contact with Jeffrey Epstein when indeed you did no such thing. You took your 2 princess daughters to meet this pedophile. You begged him for $50,000 and $100,000. Then I'm sorry, your credibility is forever smashed.
Between February 13th and 16th, just days before Andrew's arrest, all 6 companies where Fergie serves as sole director filed to be struck off. Every single one. Her charity, Sarah's Trust, announced it was closing. Multiple UK charities dropped her as patron. Her entire professional identity wiped clean in a matter of days. When you see someone dismantling their life that quickly, you don't ask what happened. You ask what's coming, because what came out of those released documents wasn't just about Andrew.
Actually, it seems that Sarah has been appalling as well. I read today, this evening, that Epstein decided that he would give her the money she wanted the minute she divorced from Andrew. Now, I didn't know that, so he was actually keeping her, which is why she secretly sent letters saying, you know, you're so wonderful, please marry me. I mean, It's just shocking what behavior.
Emails show Fergie visited a certain convicted financier in Miami just 5 days after his release from prison. She called him, and I'm paraphrasing from published reports, a legend and the brother she always wished for. She wrote asking for a job as his house assistant, saying she desperately needed money. A source close to the situation described her role simply. She was a useful person who offered access to Andrew, nothing more. Now, if you're watching this and you're old enough to remember the summer of 1992, you already know where this began.
Well, we were on holiday. I had tried to make sure that the place that we chose was very discreet. It was in 7 acres of property in the south of France. And
August, a private villa in Saint-Tropez, a photographer with a long lens, and photographs of Sarah Ferguson that destroyed whatever was left of her royal standing.
we were playing games, and one of the games wound up being sort of Cinderella, and Cinderella with the shoes and the toes and everything else that took place was just a fun child's game.
The images showed Fergie with her financial advisor, John Bryan, in a situation that no amount of royal PR could spin. And to make it even more painful, Princess Beatrice, 4 years old at the time, and Princess Eugenie, just 2, were at that same villa.
Of course, it was a holiday for Beatrice and Eugenie, basically. We were sitting by the pool, and Beatrice and Eugenie are learning how to swim. They were 4 and 2 years old, so.
Fergie was staying at Balmoral with the entire royal family when those photos hit the front pages. Prince Philip reportedly threw the newspaper in front of her at the breakfast table. Princess Margaret wrote to her afterwards, and this line has stayed with me. She said Fergie had done more to bring shame on the family than could ever have been imagined. The Queen declared 1992 her annus horribilis, and Fergie was escorted out. But here's the pattern nobody's connecting. 1992, the villa photos. 2010, the cash for access sting, where Fergie was caught on hidden camera offering access to Andrew for £500,000, taking $40,000 in cash off a table. 2019, Andrew's disastrous interview. 2022, the confidential settlement. And now, 2026, the arrest. That's 34 years. Same family, same pattern. Different chapters of the same book that nobody wanted to read.
The royal family need to distance themselves from this man, don't they?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it does seem that he doesn't care two hoots about the country, about the royal family, about what they're doing, and about him being a part of this. And it's not necessarily because he hasn't got a job now, because that's his fault, but actually to make people feel that how you're behaving is absolutely disgusting makes a big difference.
After 3 decades of this, scandal after scandal, humiliation after humiliation, you really have to wonder, did Fergie and Andrew ever truly separate? Or was their divorce just paperwork while they kept operating as a unit behind closed doors? And caught right in the center of all of this are 2 women who didn't choose any of it. Beatrice and Eugenie have spent their adult lives trying to build something separate from their parents' chaos. Beatrice launched a consultancy. Eugenie works in the art world, both married, both have children, and both, according to multiple royal sources, feel.
And the problem that Charles also has is that he allowed Beatrice and Eugenie to keep their princesses' titles. They are still Princess Beatrice, Princess Eugenie.
And this is the word insiders used, duped, because their father told them repeatedly that he had done nothing wrong. The same thing he told the Queen, the same thing he told Charles, and they believed him. But their reactions couldn't be more different. Beatrice is still in contact. She was seen horse riding with Andrew and her daughter just weeks before the arrest. She invited him to her younger daughter's christening. She's described as being in damage containment mode, staying close, staying quiet, keeping her head down in the Cotswolds.
You know, do you remember when the story first emerged, people going, how could Fergie take her little daughters to see a convicted paedophile 5 days after he was released from prison? And then we found out the nuance that they weren't little girls, they were 19 and 20 at the time. And don't forget...
Just the age he liked. Just the age he liked.
Yeah.
Eugenie, she's gone the other direction entirely. Insiders report she has cut off all contact with her father. Zero communication. One source compared it to the Beckham family situation, a complete severing. She won't take his calls. She won't visit, and there might be a reason for that beyond just anger. Eugenie co-founded something called the Anti-Slavery Collective, an organization that works to combat exactly the kind of crimes that shadow her father's former associates. The irony isn't lost on anyone, and both daughters are reportedly not just angry at their father, they're appalled by their mother's behavior too. Those Epstein emails from Fergie, calling a convicted man a legend, Beatrice and Eugenie have read them. The whole world has read them.
You had Fergie, who apparently was in love with Epstein and may have even had sex with Epstein, talking about the fact that Eugenie, her youngest daughter, was off on a shagging weekend.
Imagine discovering that your mother wrote those words while you were building your life trying to escape exactly this kind of headline. Here's my take on Fergie. She spent 30 years positioning herself as the victim. Poor Fergie, rejected by the royals. Poor Fergie, left out in the cold, but every single one of these scandals, the photos in France, the cash for access sting, the financial begging, those were all her choices. At a certain point, you stop being someone things happen to, and you start being someone who makes things happen. And right now, the things she made happen are destroying her own daughter's lives.
There is no sympathy for this lying grifter. She has shown her true colours. She is an utter disgrace. She is an embarrassment to the monarchy.
And then there's the connection that makes this story even more complicated, because Fergie and Meghan Markle have more in common than either would ever admit. When Harry first brought Meghan to meet the royals, it was Fergie, at Royal Lodge no less, who taught Meghan how to curtsy before meeting the Queen. Harry confirmed this himself. Fergie came outside, demonstrated the curtsy, and Meghan copied it. That's how Meghan Markle entered royal life. Coached by the one woman the royals had spent decades trying to forget, both married the second sons. Both were called outsiders by the press. Both clashed with the institution. Both eventually left, and both tried to build media careers afterwards. Books, television, brand deals.
Her parents were very extravagant, lived beyond their means, were in debt. I wouldn't quite say social climbers, but they were networkers and pretty ruthless and pretty promiscuous. So she didn't have a great sort of background to come from.
One royal commentator put it bluntly last year. Meghan's post-royal career mirrors Fergie's playbook almost exactly. Fergie even said it herself in 2019. She related to Meghan, she understood the pressure. But by 2023, suddenly she didn't know Meghan, had barely met her. Funny how that works.
Sarah Ferguson attended Tom Inskip's wedding in Jamaica in 2017. Meghan Markle was flown in private plane, allegedly belonging to Rob Burkle. Harry flew economy plus from the United Kingdom to Jamaica. And Fergie, Eugenie, and allegedly Andrew were at that wedding.
And then there's the yacht question that's followed both of them. Fergie's infamous South of France scandal, and the persistent rumors about Meghan's own pre-royal days at luxury gatherings that have circulated online for years. Now, those rumors about Meghan remain unproven, and that's worth stating clearly. But the parallel in the public's mind exists, and Fergie's history makes that parallel louder. Even the cousin relationships have fractured.
This is Karina Shuliak, Epstein's girlfriend.
And the only times she traveled and went anywhere was with him. And guess who's on the other end with her Panama hat?
Eugenie was once Harry's closest royal relative. She was the first to meet Meghan. They double dated in Toronto. Eugenie appeared in the Sussexes' Netflix series. But sources now say the York sisters have firmly pledged their allegiance to the royal family and haven't communicated with the Sussexes for quite a while. The friendships that once connected these families are gone. And Meghan, for someone who spent years telling the world she wasn't being protected by the institution, has been remarkably quiet about the arrest of the one man they actually did protect for years. You'd think this would be the moment to say something, but no, silence. Because silence, when the spotlight is on someone else's scandal, is also a strategy. Let the fire burn somewhere else while your own headlines fade. I'll let you decide who taught her that trick.
Fergie, to me, she is more dangerous than anybody.
She brought Jeffrey Epstein into that idiot formerly known as Prince Andrew, into the royal family.
Royal biographer Tom Bower, the man who wrote the book on both the Sussexes and the royal family, has called Andrew, in his words, a congenital liar, and is demanding he be sent into permanent exile. Bower warned there's far more damaging material yet to surface. Andrew Loney, who spent years fighting the government for access to Andrew's trade invoice records, called him a complete narcissist, who views himself as the victim in all of this.
You know, I certainly think, this guy, Andrew, what he's done to this family is absolutely appalling, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
According to Loney, even William and Catherine saw through Andrew years ago. He was, in their eyes, a joke within the family. Paul Burrell, who served as Princess Diana's butler and knows the inner workings of the palace, called Andrew entitled and pompous. But his warning was darker, that Andrew has gone rogue, and what we've seen so far isn't the end. Royal historian Ed Owens went further. He called this the worst crisis for the British monarchy since the abdication in 1936. That's not commentary. Coming from a historian, that's a verdict.
What happened 90 years ago? The Nazi sympathizing king, Edward VIII, abdicated.
And that brings us to the question nobody in the palace wants to ask out loud. If Fergie has no home, no companies, no charity, no title, no protection, and 30 years of royal secrets locked inside her head, what exactly is stopping her from talking? Because that's the real danger here. And it's not coming from a police custody suite.
This isn't the first scandal that she's weathered in the last 30 years. So I was surprised in some ways that she has survived as long as she has, both in terms of her endorsements and commercial appeal and in terms of the work she does with charities.
One expert put it plainly, Fergie could sell herself to the highest bidder. She knows where the skeletons are buried. She's been evicted from Royal Lodge. Andrew left in early February, and she's been told she needs to find her own accommodation. Right now, sources describe her as being in a housing crisis with no permanent offer. A woman who lived in a 30-room mansion in Windsor Great Park is now reportedly considering a one-bedroom annex on her daughter's property.
Her man serves her no purpose. Does that sound familiar? Fergie saying, oh, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. Why? Because now she no longer has the use of the title.
Think about that. A woman with nothing left to lose, carrying decades of first-hand knowledge about the inner workings of the monarch. She was there for Charles and Diana's marriage breaking down. She was there when Andrew was at his most powerful and his most reckless. She watched the institution close ranks, protect its own, and throw everyone else to the tabloids.
The more you know Sarah Ferguson, the more you realize actually what a villain she is.
Every publisher, every streaming platform, every tabloid editor would write a very large check for what Sarah Ferguson knows. The monarchy's biggest threat right now isn't Andrew sitting in a cell answering questions. It's Fergie, somewhere overseas, with a phone that every media outlet in the world would love to see ring.
What Fergie is going to do is just gonna blow his father, Camilla, Catherine, and William, because she blames Prince William and Princess Catherine for her misfortunes. She doesn't blame herself, or she doesn't take any accountability for the fact that it is her behavior that got her ousted.
They arrested Andrew on his birthday, but the real gift, the one the monarchy definitely did not want, is the silence from the one person who knows everything and has absolutely no reason left to keep quiet. Fergie knows. Meghan's watching. Beatrice and Eugenie are caught in the wreckage, and the institution that spent 34 years pretending none of this was happening just ran out of time. Some families fall apart over generations. The Yorks did it in a single lifetime. What do you think happens next? Tell me in the comments. This is Star Spotlight. If you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. See you in next one.